are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Jay Silverman in the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix, Arizona.
Jeez, look at that, Valley of the Sun. I'm in the armpit of the San Gabriel Valley.
I'm not trying to brag, but I mean the winter's here.
Hey, man, that's true. That's true. It must be very comfortable where you are right now until springtime rolls around. Jay and I today have a brand that I have been chasing for a couple of years. Look at this bottling. Look at this box. It's nice. It's Casazul, and it's a very nice packaging. I'll be honest with you. I saw these folks like 2 years ago at Monterey Bay, and we came very close to getting samples from those folks, and one thing led to another, and apparently just late last year, some new investors to the brand reached out, and I said, well, let's get your tequila on Sipping Off the Cuff and see what's up. So we are breaking the seal on the Blanco. This is the Blanco, and what we're going to do is what we've been doing is we're just going to taste the juice. We're going to pour it, taste it, and then we'll tell you all the ins and outs and go from there. So bear with me as I pop the cork on this sucker here.
Yeah, I really like the feel of those boxes. It's nice quality packaging.
Yeah,
the shape of the bottle is good. I like that. It's a nice. Reminds me a little bit of Corazon, but it's a nice tequila bottle.
Yeah.
And the name is really kind of eye-catching too, because it's one of those iconic brands, Casazul. You can easily get confused. If you were to Google Casazul, you might come across a lot of Google search interpretations for Casazul, which is so iconic with the decanter that everybody knows and loves.
Everybody knows about. Yeah. Well, maybe that's by design. I don't know. I don't.
Familiarity of those. I mean, that's it. Of all the different tequila azuls out there, this one is they got a name. They probably got the name they wanted, and somehow.
Hey, well, that's okay. I mean, however they want to distinguish themselves on the market, because this is the packaging is elegant. I will say that, and the designer, the guy behind the idea of Casazul, has actually signed the box. I don't know if I'm gonna have to pull up my readers to pull this off, but
yeah, the signature here in the back. But you know what I was thinking just now, I was like, it's funny that name wasn't taken already. Casazul has been thousands of tequila brands produced up to this point, and nobody's grabbed that name so far.
I know. Hey, so he lucked out. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour some in my Stazzo Jarrito. Okay. I may drip a little bit. I'm gonna try not to, because I got a little plastic cellophane that I can't.
You're a pro.
Yeah. Well. Luckily I have this. My laptop is tilted downward, so if I spill any, it'll be on my lap. Okay.
Dodger blue, you can't go wrong with that.
Hey man, the Dodgers are champs.
Incidents or what? But it looks perfect.
Yeah, it kind of matches with my world champion T-shirt. Anyway, yeah, I know, huh? So I'm looking at this is really pristine. It's just clear. Wow.
It is pretty clear. I can see right through this glass, right into the light there. So it's
got some decent legs and tears in it, which is nice. Like I say, I've been after these guys for a while, so I'm kind of glad that we finally get a chance to put it through the gauntlet and see what's up. Because
the Mammoth, was it the Tequila Festival?
The Monterey Bay, yeah.
Oh, right.
I don't think they ever did Mammoth, but I think they did Monterey Bay a couple of years, and both times I tried to get a hold of them, and I kept getting
back then.
Oh yeah, that's a great show. First of all, it's a great showcase for brands, and secondly, these guys, I don't know what they were doing, but they had people like 6, 7 people deep in front of their, in front of their booth. So there's something to this. It might just be the magic of the name. It might be, the juice.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we getting so far? I'm getting a little citrus, not a whole lot, but a little. I'm getting like hints of maybe an orange or some kind of a light blossom, but it's citrus for sure.
Yeah, it's very clean. You get a little bit of banana peel, kind of. You get a little citrus. To me, that it really pops up. It really jogs my memory. It reminds me of another popular Leiros tequila, the old CD.
The old CD. Yeah,
Yeah, it remind me. It does have a very similar aroma. So far,
I have a bottle of CD in storage here at the house, and I haven't really popped it open for a lot for years actually.
yeah.
Well, shall we dive in?
Yeah,
Because
I was gonna say
it's
back
a,
in the agave days, I used to drink that Casa Dragones once in a while just to see what it's all about. And I was a little skeptical of the process, but what do you know about the process of this? After?
well, we know that it comes. I'll tell you what. Let's taste it first, just so we get some flavor notes, okay? And then we'll go in the stats and stories. Oh. I got to do a second pass. Just for sake of transparency here, very often, almost all the time, before I do these tastings, I take about 15 minutes and rinse my mouth out with vodka, or usually it's vodka and water, just to, by the time we do these, it's so different parts of the day. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. It's after a meal, not immediately after. When I know I'm going to do these, I always have like a bland meal.
Yeah.
Usually for me, I have a long nights and early days, so or late afternoons. And so by the time we do this, I probably just had breakfast or something.
Happy hour now for me here in Arizona. This is a good time to 4 o'clock because I haven't eaten in a while, and then I just cleanse my palate with like a club soda or some water. So I'm good to go. But this is definitely something we think about before we jump into a spirits tasting. You want to have your palate prepared, and I actually had a little bit of like sliced cucumber earlier a few minutes ago, and water. The cucumber's kind of like resets you a little bit, and just to bring things back to normal.
Yeah. So we don't talk to you about our dental hygiene very often, but all of our secrets are in the Consumer Catador course. So we do recommend doing the same thing. And for us, I will tell you, I got mint. I got I got some bitterness. I got something that smelled or tasted slightly like it shouldn't be there. I want to say artificial. The bitterness happens on the rear of the palate. The finish is good. I like this medium to long finish. It's got which is interesting because some tequilas I've had from this distillery just don't have that finish.
Mike, you hit the nail on the head. For me, my impression of the finish is that there is no finish. To be honest, it's very, very faint, subtle finish to me.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is pleasant. It is pleasant to drink, and it's very easy drinking and very light. But I'm missing some of that cooked agave that I kind of hope for when I get into a nice Blanco.
Yeah.
If they've distilled that off, it's a little bit of a shame. But I love, a good Blanco. You should be able to like identify a little bit more in the real cooked agave. So I'm missing that a little bit. But it's pleasant to drink. Would be like would go great in a cocktail and almost like a gateway tequila. But it's good and light and easy.
I know I took my first whiff from the bottle. I don't normally do that because that's really not an indicator of what's to come. But if there's ever any agave in it,
yeah.
It'll come up through the neck of the bottle, and your first pass, you get a whiff of it. But I didn't get that. I got something more akin to. I thought maybe the cork had leached or something. It smelled more artificial, but I didn't want to say anything because it could be. It could be the cork. It could be anything. And like I say, it's not an indicator of quality. But I will say that the there's some sort of mintiness in it. There's some sort of there's a greenness to it.
Mm-hmm.
But once we open it up, the nose had a bit more of the blossom floral for me. Very light. Everything about this tequila is very light. I still say that it's got a decent amount of finish, and I'm trying to have it open up a little bit more, but there's just really it's almost as if the nose and the flavor profile are muted.
Yeah,
they're muted.
Now,
that being said,
it's so easy to drink though. It's got this really it's really I get, I don't want to say Sprite, but it kind of reminds me of like just a soft drink of some sort.
Well,
like it's really not. It doesn't remind me of. It doesn't give me a lot of the agave that I'm looking for, but it gives me a pleasant drink, and I could. It's almost like inoffensive, but it's a little too polished for my tastes. But for somebody who might not love tequila, they might be very very happy to drink it.
Yeah.
They might be, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
For me, it's not to be too picky, but yeah, it's a little bit light on the agave.
Yeah. And that's by intention, obviously. Let me give you the ins and outs, okay? The ins and outs are that this is produced at. Let me give you the ins and outs. It is produced at. There we go.
89.
NOM 1489, Destilería Leiros, and of course it's imported by Warner and Blanc, excuse me, and Bruce Warner is the designer. Now I think here's the signature right there, which is kind of cool. I don't know much about Mr. Warner, but I think that his idea of the flavor profile for this tequila is exactly what he wanted for his next iterations, and we're lucky enough to get all of them. So we're gonna see what the natural progression of Casazul is as we go through the brands, and they make a couple of suggestions that I'll bring up when we do the reposado, the añejo, and the extra añejo as well. So stick with us, but that's pretty much our take. Oh, one last question I was going to ask you, Jason. As a mixologist, what would be the best highlight for something like this? A tequila and soda? Would it get lost in a tequila and soda, or would you just completely do it as with more fruit forward cocktails? Because, for instance, Casa Dragones is they do a lot of food pairing because of the flavor profile of the tequila. It just lends itself to food. And what I'm asking you, does this lend itself to more creative cocktails? Is this something you can work with?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a vehicle for a creative cocktail for sure. I would think maybe some pomegranate, mango, like traditional tequila margarita flavors. But if you wanted to get a little fancy, it would be good in like a mule or something like almost like a tequila Cosmo that you could you could do like an old school tequila Cosmo. If you had a friend that didn't love tequila, they would probably like this because it's very accessible. The flavor profile is like soft and so I think they would enjoy. I think somebody who is a vodka drinker would enjoy it if they were like, hey, I'm going to make you let's do a tequila cocktail. I promise you'll love it, and they would probably like it. So I would do something like that.
Oh, like, cool. Okay.
Yeah, pomegranate margarita, but some sort of newfangled Cosmo or something.
Well, that answers my question. Anyway, folks, that's our take on Casazul Blanco. But stick with us. We're going to do the reposado, the añejo, the extra añejo. We'll see the natural progression of this brand and see where Mr. Warner was headed. I really want to get into, what he had in mind. I do have notes on the bottle, on the box as well, and we'll read those later on. But that's our take. I'm Mike Morales. here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Jay Silverman.
You have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media and all of our channels and networks. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button, the notification bell. Give us a like. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely, friends.